everyone. Welcome to another session of Chat with Dr. Mercy Umeri. Today, I am here with an expert in communication, my friend, my brother, Mr. Izu Samuel. Mr. Izu, good to have you here.
Very good to be here and good to see you. It's been a while, but I'm so glad to see you on this conversation today.
Thank you. Thank you for saying yes to this call. I know you're busy. I know your calendar is full. Thank you for agreeing to be here today.
You're welcome.
Today, we will be talking about communication. I just wanted to thank everyone who has been following us on this series and listening to us. One of our listeners had sent a request about communication, and I thought about my circle, and I said the expert on this particular topic is no other person than Mr. Izu Samuel. By the time I read out his bio, you will understand why he is the one who is doing this talk with me today. Quickly, we'll go into it. Mr. Izu Samuel is a communications consultant with 10 years of experience in corporate communications, public relations, storytelling, journalism, and communications management. He is an Al Jazeera professional storyteller. What? He is a 6 times TEDx curator. I'm taking it easy so that it can sink in. He is a licensed Dale Carnegie professional. So he trains people in the art of speaking, and he's envisioned to raise 1 million in demand professional speakers by September 2040. This is the point where I have to do a drum roll.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Izu, you're welcome to this call. I am also a TEDx speaker, so I have been on the TEDx platform once, and I know what it takes to curate every TEDx speaking engagement. Full show, you have experts like you on the call who would help us through our speech, our talk, our story. We have expert lighting people, we have experts, storytellers and everything. So for you to be a 6-time TEDx curator, that is amazing. Impressive bio. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, you can see he's humble. He's just taking, thank you. Okay, we'll go right to it. You see, communications is, for me, I think it's one of the biggest skill anybody should have. No matter who you are, no matter what profession you are on earth, you will interact with people. Even if you're a back-end person, some people go like, I don't need to be good in my communication because I work from the back end, right? I deal with computers, or I am a technical person. No matter the kind of job you do, you will still interact with people. And that is why communication is important. So today, we'll be talking about not just communication as a topic. I want Izu, Mr. Izu, to help us, talk about the topic, but he would, at the end of the day, provide us with practical tips for how we can be better in our communication. Before I go into the first question, I was looking at, just preparing for this session, and I found out that public speaking is one of the biggest phobias in the world. Can you believe that?
Right.
In the same class with, claustrophobia, arachnophobia, the fear of spiders, claustrophobia, of course, the fear of spaces. Public speaking was also listed as the top 10.
Right.
So I'm like, why are we not even having more conversation about public speaking if people are so afraid to speak in front of other people? Anyway, that's my academic side. Every topic I have to talk about, I have to go and do a little research on it. So
That's That's so delightful.
So let's go to the first question. Okay. Given your extensive experience in corporate communications and public relations, what do you believe are the most critical skills for success in this field today?
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Mercy, my big sis. I don't know. Should I call you Professor Mercy? Which of them works for you?
No, today, Mercy. I'm Mercy today, please.
Okay, that's all right. I would like to, first of all, say hello to anybody, the beautiful souls who will see this video at any point. On behalf of my beautiful wife and myself, I feel so excited and honored to be on this call today. Now, to answer that question, I would say, in regards to what you said concerning the fact that public speaking is regarded as one of the most considered factors that people are so afraid of, and that is the truth. And in some parts of the world, public speaking is underrated because the educational side to how people are developed, most of those parts of the world, they don't pay attention to it. But then the society is naked, the family is naked, relationships are naked when public speaking and by extension communications are not properly understood for what it represents. Now, there are a series of skills that complements the science of public speaking and communications by extension. I will mention two today. The first is the psychology of confidence. That's a very strong skill. Many people are not able to communicate and engage in public speaking. It's not because they don't know. It is because they lack the confidence to defend what they know. Now, when you know something and you lack the confidence to defend what you know, then it simply interprets to mean that you don't know anything at all. So the psychology of confidence is something, is a skill that you need for public speaking communications to make a meaning. That's the first skill I'll mention. And several books written by a lot of ideologies, several books written by professionals, they always talk about the importance of the skill on confidence. And the second is the psychology of reading. Reading is a skill that amplifies the value system and proposition of communications. And for me, I believe that out of the abundance of the experience and knowledge that you have, the mouth communicates, that you are able to scribe. How can you talk about things that you have no experience and information about? How can you write about things you don't know anything about? So imagine bringing someone who has invested over 20 years in the medicals to come and talk about literature, to come and write on literature. It's going to be a foresight of incredible and painful experience. So my own way of saying that the society has created a gap, and this is really real, both in the Western and some other parts of the society. And that gap is that we have many people who are enthusiastic about being heard. They are very enthusiastic about being fantastic communicators, devoid of lots of solid experience. The value proposition and what makes public speaking and communications to make a meaning is that you need the skill of reading to be able to back up and solidify the value of your voice. There is the value of information, and there is also the value of your voice. The value of your voice is equivalent to the value of whatever experience you have. Two of them work hand in hand. They're in a very strong collaboration, and there is nothing you can actually do to separate the reality of these two. Now, the second, I think I will just share those two. Some personal for your session today, and I hope that works. Those two skills, psychology of confidence and the psychology of reading. Anybody that wants to do well in the industry and the field of communications must extensively invest in those two skills. I believe that if you want to speak well, you must be able to read well. I believe that if you want to be someone that when you stand on the stage, the TEDx stage, the storytelling stages, and different platforms to communicate, you must be someone that beyond what you have read, you must understand how to defend what you have read. And the art of defending what you have read can be explained on the basis of the psychology of confidence. Knowing how to defend what you claim to know is confidence.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I was also writing because right now it feels like we are in a master class of
Oh my gosh. Just leave me. My goodness.
the psychology of confidence and the psychology of reading. If we even want to unpack those two, that would be for another session totally. Right now, if you're listening to me, you have to follow Izu on his social media platform. This is what he does for a living. I just said, oh my goodness, it's not enough to just have information. You have to have the voice. You have to have confidence to talk about what you know. The issue is not really, people know there is an abundance of knowledge. We are in a deluge of information era right now, but it is not just about what you have to have the confidence and the voice to actually talk about what you know.
Right.
Okay. I told you all we are in for a great time. Let's go to the numbers. Let me ask the next question. What inspired you to pursue a career in communications, and how did you get started in this field? Because right now we may have people who want to aspire to be like you. You talk the way you have talked. Look at the way you just dissected that first question alone. Somebody may look at you and say, my God, when will I be able to speak like Mr. Izu? What was the motivating factor into this field of communications?
I would like to appreciate you. Mercy for your genius. I like the questions you're asking. Those questions they're not just intelligent questions, they are relatable questions that speaks volume on how much someone can effectively transition from the point of not knowing what communications is and to becoming a professional. For me, young boy growing up, I have told my stories on several stages. I grew up in an environment where my voice was not heard. I had so many things to say, had great passion. I wanted to be heard. I wanted to be part of the people that could lend my voices to challenging factors within my environment. I heard people speak, but then when I heard these people speak, I just realized that there is a deep, lacuna between the experience of a communications and intelligent communications. I became so hungry. I wanted to let people know how much I'm able to contribute, but then I wasn't granted the opportunity. People believed that I didn't have the capacity. And losing my father at a very young age became very chaotic, and that affected my mind. One certain time, as a young boy in the university, I was part of the people that participated in an art exhibition competition. I took second position, and that was an opportunity to meet with the vice chancellor of the university at the time.
Wow.
When I was invited by the vice chancellor of the university, I realized that I was excellent in drawing. I had so many things in the bowel of my soul I wanted to talk about, but I just realized that I could not express myself before the vice chancellor. The vice chancellor would say a word and I would just be vibrating. I just literally could not utter a word.
Oh, wow.
And when I was called upon to talk about my experience of involving in that art exhibition competition, it became a problem to express myself intelligently. There was this lecturer of mine who went along with myself and other students. That lecturer, when we were done with the conversation with the vice chancellor, he called me apart and said to me that he would like to invite me to join the debating and public speaking society in the university at the time. I said, no problem. I decided to try. Mercy, when I was given the opportunity to express myself the first, second, third time, I realized that I could not speak complete English. I realized that beyond just being passionate, I lacked the knowledge and the exposition to express myself. Because whilst it's important to wanting to express yourself, there is also the need for us to understand intelligent communications. That is very important. I realized that I could not even complete my statements. My communication skill was poor. It wasn't just about confidence right now. It was about what I knew at the time. All of those things challenged me. And Mercy, I could see some students express themselves intelligently. I could see some students speak so confidently. I was wowed. I remember this young girl who was so intellectual. And after that day, the second day, the third day, I just became so hungry beyond just wanting to be heard. I decided to go work on myself.
Wow.
And that was the experience that got me into the communications field. Mercy, my first degree is mechanical engineering. And
Wow.
the rest of other degrees that I have acquired, other programs I have done, they have all been on communications, public speaking, the media, the journalism, and all of that. Wherever I am today, what I am doing today, I can trace it to the experience of what happened in the office of the Vice Chancellor, and his name is Professor Ikenna Onyedo. That
Okay.
was the Vice Chancellor at the time I was in the university, Professor Ikenna Onyedo. Everything I am today, my passion about being heard, my passion in communications, getting into the industry, I just told myself that the same way I struggle to express myself is the same way many people are struggling to express themselves. The assignment I have is, now I have found my voice. I am hungry about helping many other people to find their voice. And that is just every single thing that I would like you to know about how and why I got into the communications industry. Thank you so much.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that honorable story, and really sorry about your dad. And I know that your dad will be so proud of the man that you are today. You have channeled that challenge into becoming a well-spoken, intelligent man. There's something that you said that really is instructive, and that's when you said you joined the debating society. While I was also in secondary school, I also was one of the leaders in the literary and debating society of my school. I was also the social prefect of my school. I would say those times helped to build what people see today when they say, oh, Mercy, it's easy for you to speak, or it's easy for you to stand in front of people. I want everyone listening to us that it is not an overnight thing, right? It's something that grows over time. Izu found the challenge, and apart from being in the debating society, he started working on himself. He started reading. There is the part that we also have to play. It doesn't just happen overnight. And Mr. Izu, you already have delved into the third question, but I think I'm also going to ask it because I want to specifically ask you to share a communications challenge that you faced in your career. I know you've talked about how you got into communications, what motivated you. But if you can share, even with everything you know now, has there been any time you faced a challenge, and how did you successfully navigate that?
For me, I have faced enormous challenges in communications. As part of the challenges I've faced, in fact, in the most recent times, I remember when I was called upon to deliver a speech on the TED stage that day. I was meant to, I think it was on my third TEDx event I had curated. I was called upon to declare the event open. I had already written my speech. At the time, I wasn't married. And Mercy, there was this beautiful lady, fair in complexion, who seated on the second row. She just was looking at me. I was wondering, do I have big trousers? Do I have big shoes? Do I have big head? Because I was just worried. I got on the stage and literally I forgot every single thing I had planned to say.
My goodness.
And I was just talking like sounding like a broken record. That was an incredible experience. People were expecting to hear the voice of Izu Samuel. And I showed up right on the call, sounding like someone who doesn't even understand what he was talking about. And that was ridiculously a very poor experience. But something happened. Along the line, I just had to take a break. And this is what I tell people, that effective communications begins to make sense the moment you understand how to take intentional pause. When I took that intentional pause, I gained my ground. As soon as I took that intentional pause, I gained my momentum. As soon as I took that intentional pause, I became so intentional about where I was and what I was expected to do at the time. And that was what changed the paradigm of the game. And man, I just began to talk. And I had to put my eyes back on the lady's eyes, and the lady had to remove her eyes. And at some point, I saw the lady clapping for me. And to be very honest, to someone listening to me right now, it doesn't matter the first challenge you experience in communications. The easiest way to help yourself to be able to stand on the challenging factors of communications is to, first of all, take a pause. And when you're taking a pause, realize that when you're standing before people, is an opportunity to transform one life. I don't know how to say this again. It is an opportunity, whether professionally speaking, socially speaking, academically speaking, whenever you're speaking to people, is an opportunity to transform someone's life. The science of transformation is connected to effective communications. There is no time for you to make a mistake when you're talking. Medical doctors need communications to talk to their patients. Nurses, everybody needs communications. When you make a mistake, you must wait by taking a pause, gain your grounds, and come back understanding what your assignment is within the jurisdiction of that time. That is just my little story. Don't mind me. I tell a lot of stories, and that is who I am, and I enjoy it. I hope I'm answering your questions. And mind you, someone listening to me, my wife is somewhere listening to me and she's laughing at me here, but no problem. I'm focusing on this.
Oh my goodness. I like the example that you gave, because I mean, it's so real. Sometimes we think that even the confident people, the experts, never have it. They never have any challenge when it comes to communication. Even when you are well prepared, even when you have prepared your speech and you have rehearsed and done all of that, you can come on stage and something can knock you off. In the case of Izu, this beautiful sister knocked him off his feet. And it can be anything. It can even be It can even be somebody just frowning. Like, you just look at somebody's face and the person is not, like, the person looks like, I don't want to see you on stage. What do? Izu said, take a pause. For me, I'll take a pause and I'll shift my gaze to the person who is probably smiling the most in the crowd. Or I know people have said funny things like look over people's head, which I will not encourage, because when I speak with people or when I'm speaking, I like to make eye contact, because I want the people, I need to connect with my listeners, right? For beginners, if looking over their head helps you, fine. But as you grow in communication, you want to be able to connect with the people that you are speaking to. And it can be anything. And I also want to say here, it is okay to be vulnerable, right? Like you said, it's okay to be vulnerable, to know, oh, if I get distracted, there is a point where I need to pause and come back and continue with the conversation. Thank you for sharing that. And your wife knows that she's in good hands.